see how this works. A little different. Just leaving the gas station here. Well, as we get closer to the book being published, I went back through. Ooh, it's bright. Is that a bright sun? I went back through the videos, and I went back through the conversations that I had with people like Sean Wright, Mason Hendricks, Danny Mason, and it's just like, and you could see all of the times that they either lied, they were fabricating things, they were dishonest, or hopefully they were just uninformed about things that they should have known. So quick to say, oh, David's guilty, 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 guilty. And then when you start peeling back that onion, you can clearly see that these guys don't know what they're talking about, and they're lying, and there's a lot of doublespeak. So you'll have comments where Mason Hendricks is saying that the police found footprints, or they were able to prove that it was David's prints there. That's not true. There's Sean Wright talking about the police kicking down the front door. That's not true. Some of the weird things that Danny Mason has said, and it was just like, it's a very, very hostile. Some of the conversations and some of the way that they acted in those comments and those conversations, it's very hostile. And it makes you realize why there is so much surrounding those people, and so many questions surrounding them, because of the way that they behave, because of how they act. I mean, going back and reading it, and I'm putting some in this video clip that I'm working on here. Don't come around here, because that's kind of what it kind of felt like. It was like, you guys, you can't be here. Who are you? Who are you, Greg, to come out here and to ask questions, and you're disrespecting the family, and nobody's okay with this and that. And, when you go back and look at what I said, and you go back and look at the videos that I made, you can clearly see that they're just making stuff up about me. It's nothing new. I mean, I've seen it a lot. I mean, I've heard a lot of things, a lot of different things about me, and it's just like, okay, believe whatever you want, think whatever you want. I want people to know, if you ask me an honest question, I'll give you an honest answer. I'll give you the answer. I'll give you the real answer. So, I've heard a lot of different stuff. A lot of people talking about, I guess there's this theory, going back and looking at these comments and stuff. There's this theory that somehow this is all just a big ruse, right? We're all just like, yeah, we know David's guilty, but we're acting like he's not. I mean, it is some of the most laughable, disgusting things that I've ever heard. And it's very similar to what we see, which is a program. It's just a cyber stalking type of program that is meant to intimidate you, is meant to stop you. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The only thing that's going to stop, the only thing that's ever going to stop me from looking into this is getting a fucking answer about what really happened here. And no, it is not David. It obviously is not proven to be David. So that's what I want these people to understand. That's what I want Danny Mason to understand. That's what I want Sean Wright to understand. That's what I want Mason Hendricks to understand. And a lot of these other ass clowns. That's what I want them all to understand. And reading back in the comments, like, they understood it. They understood exactly what we were talking about. We were right before we knew it. We were right before we even knew it. Going back and looking at all that, that's what I realized, how right we were without the facts. And now that we have the facts, it just confirms everything that we've been talking about. It confirms every, thought that we always had, that I always had, was the fact that what they're telling us is not true. And you could go down that line, but specifically with those three people and some of the other quote-unquote Gray State team members, who have contacted me, and there were more, going back, there were more people that I realized that had contacted me, that I had conversed with on social media, and always starting out kind of nice, everything's good, and then it just gets more hostile and more negative and more fake, more fictitious, very fictitious when it comes to these people here. And I don't understand why. Because you don't like what I thought? Because you don't agree with it? I mean, people are entitled to believe whatever they want. So you can believe whatever you want with me, but I can assure you I'm the real fucking deal. Dan Hennon is the real deal. I can assure you I'm the real deal. There's no doubt about that. If you don't know, you will. Eventually. What I say is what I mean. And what I mean is what I say. So, this pursuit is not going to be stopped. We are going to get to the bottom of this one way or the other. What we know for sure, 100%, it's not proving David Crowley guilty. 200%. So, anyways, going through these videos and going through these old comments, and it just brings back so much stuff. You could probably write a whole book just on that. Just on how many times people who claim that David Crowley is guilty or make weird statements to try to convince you that David Crowley is guilty, and the facts that they have turn out not to be facts at all. It's just fake. It's fiction. It's lies. It's just games. It is deception, distraction. And, some of them are that dumb that they probably don't realize what they're doing, but some of them have got to realize what you're doing. Can we really have this many unintelligent people working with David, working alongside of David, working outside of David's circle, trying to work within his circle, trying to be a part of his circle, to control his circle, to change his circle? All of this stuff, man. And it's been quite the journey. I'm sure for all of you it has too. But there's not going to be any bait and switch on our part, on my part. This Thursday, we are going to have another live show. Hope to get some good topics, some new topics. If not, there's plenty of topics that we have just kind of ready to go to talk about. So we'll see what we're going to cover. Hopefully some new updates too, I'm hoping, by that point. But we'll see about that. Just never know with this case. Always asking for everybody's prayers that we find the truth and that the liars are exposed. That's the big one. Because there are many liars here. Many liars. Yeah, no one's going to escape. No one's going to escape judgment. So the book is ready. The book is ready to go. Just waiting on some T's and I's, dotting some T's, crossing some I's, as they say. I don't know what to say. just some of the comments that were made are just so bizarre. They're so strange and so unnecessary. It just draws attention to them and makes you think, what are these people talking about? What are they talking about? David's guilty. Okay, because what? And then all the stuff about the pact theory, that there was a pact between David and his wife. And then you have people saying, no, there wasn't a pact. You had Judy Prochnow saying that Chris Peck wanted to basically strangle Dan Hennon while he was in Dan Hennon's house, while they were filming for the sloppumentary, A Great State by Eric Nelson. I asked Mason Hendricks about that, and he said, no, Chris would never do that. They can't even get their story right. Can't even get these things straight. But there's a lot of things like that. So if you get them all in separate rooms, they're all going to tell different stories. And I'll bet you if you get them all in the same room, they'll probably tell different stories too. Not very bright people. But it just shows the dishonesty. For whatever reason, they're dishonest. And they've been dishonest. And shame on them for that, because there was no need for that. If they really cared about David, they could have been a lot more honest. Could have been a lot more truthful. And just said, we don't know what happened. We don't know. You know, that would have done them a much better service than the shameful act that they did of accusing their friend and then coming to the conclusion that, yep, police solved the investigation, great investigation, David's guilty, and that's it. Don't come around here. I could see why David was telling them, don't come around here no more. I would be too. I mean, that's just, you know, and now they all got to look at themselves and just live with the shameful behavior for the rest of their life. And it doesn't matter what you say or what you do, who you try to go after, what you try to do to them, it all comes back to you. Yeah, Judy Prochnow put out my 2010 my bankruptcy stuff from 2010. I guess that was somehow supposed to prove David was an innocent person or something. And of course, that's how God works. And God chose her not to do that. And hopefully she's learned her lesson with everything that happened with her son. And that's just how it is. That's how it works. It all comes back to you with what you do. So, the difference between my case and Judy's son's case is that mine was not a criminal act, you know. It was not very recent either, 2010. Her son was a whole different story. And the reason why her son was valid, what happened to her son being arrested, basically trafficking drugs is what was going on. However you want to slice it and dice it. And if you're going to slice and dice that and try to make excuses, man, I could totally see why you would just believe whatever the Gray State team said about David Crowley and just run with it. Even though what they told you was a lot of BS and a lot of stuff that turned out not to be true. So that's why I would encourage the people that do believe that David Crowley is guilty. Don't attack people for that. It will come back to you. Just ask Judy Prochnow. It came back to her in a big, big way. That's her fault. And the reason why her son is relevant is because he was there during that time. And police never questioned him for whatever reason. Do the police even know that he was there? Shouldn't he have been one of the people that they should have questioned? Did they ever question him later on? From what all indications are is no. So, but it's reasons like that if you're going to believe David Crowley is guilty, don't go after the people that don't believe like you. It'll all come back to you. It will. Believe me, it will. We've seen it, and we'll see it again. And I don't want to see it. You know, I don't want it to be about that. Come after me for what I say about this case. You know, if you're going to come after me. If you're going to come after somebody, come after me. Don't come after them. Don't come after any of these other people. Don't be a coward. Come after me. And the problem is, their problem is any debate, anything that they would want to try to do, they've already lost. Already lost. You lost the debate because there's no weight on your side. There is nothing. There is no place that you will find in the police records that prove David Crowley is guilty. There's nowhere that they state that they think he's guilty. Other than the one instance where they say, well, because the only reason they'll tell you David Crowley is guilty is because they couldn't find evidence that anybody else was. So, is that good enough? Is that a good enough reason? I don't think so. I'm sure you might feel the same way.